Well, hello everyone. Welcome. It's the first time I think I've streamed this year, so it's good to be back. And we're going to tackle something a little bit different today, something I haven't tried before, and that is building a plugin for a Stream Deck. So I got a Stream Deck last year. I think it's, pretty much everyone did. They went out and bought Stream Decks when it was like, ooh, we're all going to become Twitch streamers and we're going to become like rich and just write code and people are going to watch us and all that kind of stuff. But I've been messing around with it, particularly over the last couple of weeks, trying to really tweak what I'm using it for, to do a bunch of like automation around how I set up things, obviously planning to do streams again, so like hit buttons and it just magically sets up a heap of stuff behind the scenes. But then like with most things, as soon as I get a view of how I can use something, I'm like, well, how can I then see about extending it as much as I can? So then I was like, well, let's look at the plugin stuff for Stream Deck and how can we build our own sort of plugins. And well, I guess that's kind of led me to where I am today. So I've had a bit of a read into some of how this stuff works. So I'll talk a bit about like how Stream Decks themselves work, at least based off of what I've understood from reading their docs and looking at some other plugins and how they've been implemented. And then we'll see about actually building something. So without further ado, let's jump over to this thing and ta-da, Stream Deck. This is so this is the thing that we're doing. I've got one on my desk. I've got the 15 key one, so this one here that you can see. Actually, let me bring up my Stream Deck. So like this is what I've got mine set up for at the moment. So this is the profile I use when I'm streaming. I have a bunch of the different things across the bottom, which are those are the different scenes I can bounce through. I've got some. Just tell me which profile which scene collection OBS I am. So I'm actually on the streaming one there. I have this one that launches OBS, but I've actually got this as what's called a multi-action. Music's a bit too loud. I wondered about that. There we go. Let's do that. We'll see. I also then tweaked all of my OBS settings and everything over the holidays. So we'll see what that comes back as. Yeah, so that should be better. Well, no, the audio actually, the track changed when you asked me that, Glenn. So then there was nothing happening there, and now it's back. But it should be much fainter. I've just dropped that volume way down. So yeah, I'd say thumbs up, but I can't see your thumbs. Hey Ben, welcome. I was just going through, this is what I've got running on my Stream Deck. So like when I hit the button to launch OBS, it will open OBS, it'll open Spotify, it'll then do a slight delay in the Stream Deck before it runs the next set of actions, just while OBS opens. And once OBS is opened, it will set it onto the right profile, it'll set the scene collection, it'll set the correct source, so to the right scene, in OBS. It'll start a playlist for me. It'll turn on my my front light there, but I need to actually increase this to, I think that was meant to be about 8 seconds, or maybe I'll make it at 10 seconds because it didn't quite work properly. Yeah, so basically I hit this button and it does a bunch of automation for me. But then I've got a whole heap of other profiles. So I've got my Spotify one. I've got a soundboard, which has awesome things like
I found my Wookiee.
like Ralph and stuff like that. I've got a heap of Simpsons things on there. Then I can control audio and all that sort of stuff. So like, yeah, as I said, I was curious to see how this stuff all sort of works, and play around with it. So that's what we're gonna tackle today. So the basic crux of the way Stream Decks work is, or from like a plugin standpoint, is through WebSockets. So your Stream Deck loads up all these little apps behind the scene. Those apps then connect to a WebSocket server that the Stream Deck app is running. Yeah, it's going to be the Windows, not the actual physical device. So they connect on the WebSockets, and then they expose properties and actions. So that's the things, the actions of the buttons that you put on, and then when you interact with them, they do stuff. So that's like the basic crux of it. Now with the SDK, oh yeah, this thing kind of goes over through it. Where was it? It was under. Oh no, it was there. Yeah. So the SDK is, well, JavaScript, C++, and Objective-C. That's great. I mean, I can write JavaScript. I am totally not writing one in C++. Even less chance I'm going to write one in Objective-C, because apart from the fact that I don't have a Mac, so I've never really bothered learning Objective-C. I don't know Objective-C. Yeah. So instead, I was like, well, can we do this in .NET? I mean, it's just at the end of the day, it's running something on a WebSocket server. There's, socket servers are pretty easy from .NET, and the answer is yes. Yes, you can. So I came across this project. That's not the one I wanted. So Barrader is like, he's a plugin author for Stream Deck plugins, I guess. Like, he's done a heap of different plugins. I actually use that. Like, that's the OBS one I use. It's the one I use for Voice Meter and a couple other things. But he's got a .NET library that basically simplifies the interaction between the Stream Deck and your code that you want to run. I was like, sweet, let's do that. So that's kind of the stuff that I've played around with the last few days. Got that set up, ready to roll. And hopefully that's what's not going to, well, that's going to be smooth sailing from here. But also what I found is that if we come into Task Manager, no, not Task Manager. Let's go to Proc Explorer. Because I was like, okay, well, how does it actually, like, once the Stream Deck starts, like, what's running behind the scenes? It turns out that, well, it just will attempt to start up a bunch of little applications. Like, it'll try and run, well, essentially some Windows apps. We'll come down to, where is my Stream Deck? It's somewhere. Here it is. Okay. Now, let's see if Windows Plus will work. Zoom and enhance. So we have like all these ones here, like com.barrader.obs tools, Spotify, stream countdown timer, voice meter, etc. So those are just the console applications that are running that are external plugins that I've installed. Sweet. So as long as we can compile a console application that connect to the WebSocket server, it'll all be sweet. And I've started doing some of that stuff here. Oh, actually, no, like what on earth are we doing with this plugin? Well, I decided, so I use a platform called Restream.io. So this is what I actually do the broadcast to Twitch, because I actually broadcast to Twitch and to YouTube at the same time. Sometimes for stuff that I'm doing at work, I'll broadcast to Learn TV. And I'm trying to get onto the LinkedIn broadcast program. So like, you can stream to LinkedIn, and I could stream to Facebook Gaming and stuff like that. Like, Restream has a heap of different places that you can stream out to. I could stream to Steam if I wanted to, or I could put this on Periscope, Mixcloud. I have never heard of like 90% of this stuff. Yeah, apparently Steam has streaming. I didn't know that. I've never set it up. Because I don't game stream. I only code stream. The stream doesn't seem like a logical place for me to go to. But I was like, well, what'd be cool is that, like, in this multi-action that I've got here, when I launch the stream, it then goes and like enables the targets that I want to stream to. So it's going to automatically enable Twitch and YouTube, because they're my two defaults. I could have a different one that's going to enable Learn TV if I'm streaming for work to Learn TV. Like if I had, I maybe get it to update the the title of the streams and stuff like that. Because, again, with Restream, I found that they have an API. If we go to Help Center, where was it? It's like hidden. It's well hidden in here. API. Or we can just actually. I can use. I think I bookmarked it over here. Yes, developer docs. So Restream has an API. Like I could get the profile. I could have, like a widget on my Stream Deck that's telling me my profile information. I could have one that's showing what channels that I've got active, but it's also writable, so I could get it to like update the channels that I'm running to. I could modify their metadata, so on and so forth. I was like, okay, cool. But it also seems like a bit of thing that like this could be something fun to play around with. So that's what we're going to build. We're going to try and build a plugin for the Stream Deck that allows us to maybe just toggle on and off a destination within inside of Restream. Maybe like that's what, actually no, let's get to try and display some data. Let's not try and do an update. Let's try and do like a read of data, because it gets a lot easier than a post. Yeah, particularly because, well, I couldn't find a .NET SDK for Restream, so I've gone ahead and built this. Oh, and by the way, we're doing this all in F# because, well, that's what I write .NET code in. So I have written an F# implementation of the Stream Deck API. Sorry, the Restream API. So these are just some helper methods for doing the gets and like the different requests. So gets and patches. Yep, gets and patches. And then we've got all the stuff that you actually need to do from Restream to like perform operations. So we've got like get our access token, we get a refresh token, we can revoke token, get a list of platforms that are available, get the profiles. Ooh, yeah, I wonder if, actually, that's not what I wanted. Platforms. I think that's unauthenticated. Maybe I could just have it like, no. Actually, just displaying a list of platforms is probably not useful on a Stream Deck. Where are we? Back here. Yeah. And then get the stream key. Again, that's probably not particularly useful. Get which channels that are enabled. Get a particular channel. So I could maybe like get it. So I could get a channel, I think. So from channel, we can pull that back, and then we can see whether or not it's active. Yeah, I can do that. Get the channel there. So that's the kind of stuff that we're going to have a hack around with today. And again, just to kind of gloss over some of the things that I needed to deal with. Like, once you decide that you actually got to build a Stream Deck plugin, it's like, great. So you got to build a console application, but then how do you tell Stream Deck how it works or anything like that? And that, if we come back to Stream Deck's docs, it's called a manifest file. So there's a file called manifest.json, which lives in the root of the thing you publish to Stream Deck. And what it's going to do is expose the action, so the things that you can make buttons do, and then like what operating systems you target, and then some additional metadata. So yeah, like author. The important one is this code path. So code path is the entry point. So this is the thing that the Stream Deck will first load up. And this is a JavaScript plugin for Stream Deck. So it's going to load up just a HTML page, and that's its sort of entry point. But for a .NET application, we're going to point at a console app. Like, that's what we're going to run. Yeah. So I've actually gone ahead and written a bunch of scripts that'll help build all this stuff up, because it's going to be a little bit tedious to watch and to write all that stuff. So yeah, prep some of this stuff. Plugins have to have a reverse domain notation. So like column, Aaron Powell, Restream IO, that's where it's going to live. This is the path where the Stream Deck app lives on my machine, because they've got to kill it and then restart it each time you install a plugin, or at least the hacky way that we'll be uninstalling and reinstalling plugins using this script. We're going to have to do that. Then I wrote somewhere down here. Here we go. Here we go. Create the Stream Deck plugin. So we download this tool from Elgato. We then zip up, or we then unzip it and then execute it against the place where all of our files are. And then that gives us a file that we can then run against Stream Deck, which will then allow us to, it will then create the Stream Deck install. So then I've got another one here that will install Stream Deck. This script is not 100% perfect. It does tend to lock files, so we might actually be just jumping into Task Manager and doing a bit of brutalizing and killing of things, but it works 60% of the time, every time. Yeah, so that's how we'll run it. And then for the actual plugin itself, so I'm using Barrater's Stream Deck tools, and we're going to write it all in F#, which is fun because all of his example stuff is written in C#. So I've basically tried to reverse engineer how it works to be in F# so that I can come back and actually try and implement what I need. So how does it work? I actually have this installed. So this sample plugin that I've started to build, and we're going to use a new profile that I've got here. So I do have it installed, and it is this one down here, Restream.io. I haven't named my action particularly well here. So it says to do, enter name of action, so that we control through our manifest file. And this is it sitting here. It's got obviously a stock icon and stuff like that. This has a couple of bits of, a couple of properties on it. So it's got a file name. It's got a button that I can save the file. I've got input text. Mostly this is just this is just doing basic plugin testing. It's not actually writing to a file or anything like that. What it does do is if we come into %app data, that's not how you spell app data. So in app data, Elgato, Stream Deck, plugins, you'll find the plugin that gets installed. And at the moment, this is just generating me a plugin log file, which if we open in VS Code here, and if I click the button on my Stream Deck, you can't actually see this, but there we go. It's actually writing to that log file. So if I keep pressing, so I've just got some events that are happening behind the scenes. So what's happening is we have plugin settings. So this is the thing that's getting exposed up to the action here. So these are the settings for this particular action. So it's probably more action settings than plugin settings, but we'll come back to that. This is the ID of that action. So this is how Stream Deck knows that this chunk of code here is associated with that button on the Stream Deck. And I think this is the message that comes over the WebSocket. I haven't dived into the socket itself and had a look at the sockets that are coming back and forth. Yes, this is F#. This is not particularly idiomatic F# because it's working with an OO underpinning. So this is more OO than FP, but we'll get more FP as we go along. We have this plugin base class, which is something that Barrater's library provides us, and it does the wiring up behind the scenes. It's also, I think, what it looks like. It uses some reflection to do magic things that reflection always does. And then when it starts, we're just checking to see we're getting the, so we have the settings. So these are mutable settings because they could change. And F# variables are immutable by default, so we have to define it as mutable. Then, do I need to strongly type that? I think it should detect type. Yeah, I don't need type annotations on that. So we're going to check the initial plugin settings, and when it's null or when it has no settings added to it, we're going to just use the default settings and then write that to this WebSocket connection provides us with a save setting. So this is actually setting it back to Stream Deck to save these settings, and that gets saved somewhere. I don't know. I haven't figured that part out yet. So if we didn't receive settings, then we're just going to use default settings. If we did receive settings, then we're going to convert them just to be used with inside of this class. We don't need to save them back because I'm assuming they're saved and then sent across. But if we've received a null, then we're going to just return back with some default stuff. And then lastly, this is just a catch-all. If the pattern matching that I did didn't work, we'll just use the default settings anyway. And then Byte Stream Deck library provides us with the things that can happen from the button itself. So these are the events that you want to handle. So we've got key press, key release, so the down and the up. So if you wanted to do different things on down and up, like this could be, you could be detecting like the period of time something is down for, or I mean, not quite sure when you might be caring about something that's up versus down, other than maybe changing the look of the button. Maybe, I don't know. On tick, I haven't quite worked that one out. I think it's just maybe there's like just an internal timeout that happens on the Stream Deck itself. Maybe it's like every second or something, so that like if you're doing a counter or something like that, you could have it process on a period. When we've received settings, so if we receive settings, we're just going to populate the existing settings because this might have been changed outside, or when the Stream Deck is first, Stream Deck app is first opened, it's going to hydrate the settings out of itself and then send them across. And then we're going to just make sure that they're all synced up. Global settings. So it seems that there's two levels of settings in a Stream Deck. You've got settings for a specific action and settings for a plugin. So global settings, at least in the case of like this Restream one, is going to be things like your access token. Like you're going to need that on all the different actions. So we can use global settings to store that in one location and not have to ask you to sign in every single time. And lastly, it's got a deconstructor. I don't quite know when the deconstructor might get called. I guess it's when the Stream Deck app is quit. So I guess if you're like attached to some external resource, like if you're doing something that was talking to a database, like you can make something that talks to a database. Not sure why you would, but you would dispose of your DB connection here. Like gracefully remove file locks if you've got stuff on your file system that you're locked to, and so on and so forth. But yeah. So that's the basics of what I've figured out. Now I've got to work out how we can actually make this work. Oh, actually, yeah. How do you input to these? Well, that's done using so it's actually a web page. So I've got a plugin action PI. So they're called in property. They call them property inspectors, hence the PI. And this one is just named to match the plugin. So plugin action PI is this is the property inspector for plugin action.fs. And then, so this one has the HTML file. It's displaying like an input. This is, it's a text input, I guess. This is a button that you could interact with. And then this is just another input. This then has some JavaScript behind the scenes that, actually, no. I think, yeah, so Byte has given us a JavaScript file. I think it's just marshalling the WebSocket stuff between the property inspector and the Stream Deck. So yeah, this is just taking care of something like, yeah, there's a save setting method and then so on and so forth. So yeah, this could be useful stuff that I might dig into later, but I don't need it at this point in time. Yeah, it's this plugin action, and it's not doing anything particularly fancy. All right, cool. Makes sense. Sort of, kind of, probably, maybe, not really. Let's start by modifying this plugin action to try and return the list of let's maybe make a drop down list that has, oh yeah, can I do a drop down list that's going to have stuff in it? We'll see. I'm gonna I'm thinking like, let's do a drop down list where it's going to show like, here's all the places that you've added to your stream targets, the channels that you've got there, and then from that we'll you can select from them, and we'll see if it does anything. Let's start by adding a new file. Add a file above, and we'll call this toggle channel state. Yeah, we'll call it toggle channel state. That'll do. And let's just grab these things here because I'm going to need those at some point. Okay, and we're going to create a type. We'll call it toggle channel state settings. Let's pop that to the side just so I can see them. And we'll make this an internal because I don't actually need that exposed anywhere. Okay, now we're going to need to have some public members on this. So a type like this in F# is going to be represented as a .NET class. So like from a C# standpoint, it's going to be considered a class that could be constructed. If I wasn't using the squiggles on it, then it would be a record type. So that would be an immutable. So not the same as a C# record. They're a little bit different, but this is think of this as just like a mutable class object. So for that, we're going to need to create some public properties. So we'll do a member val, and we'll call this channel name. Actually, no, we'll just call it channel. We'll set that as a string at the moment with a getter and a setter. So this makes it a writable public property. And then we're going to need to give that the JSON property attribute so that it can serialize and deserialize. JSON property doesn't need attribute. And then we'll call property name is going to be channel. I'm not quite sure how the JSON serializer is configured that's being used for the sockets messages back and forth and to deserialize it into these classes. So I don't know whether it would automatically detect channel as matching. But we'll just do it this way just in case. Okay. But that might do for the moment. And then we'll create the static member of create default settings. And then we'll just do toggle channel settings. So that will create I'll create that. I don't need to let bind the instance because F# is going to be implicit return. So I can just do toggle channel settings. F# we also don't need to use the new keyword to use a constructor. So easy peasy. Now we're going to create a plugin action ID, and this one will be Aaron Powell Restream IO Stream Deck. So that's kind of the name of it, and we'll call this toggle channel state. So this is something that we're going to have to put into our manifest, and this will be a type of toggle channel state action. I'm going to call it action just so that I know that's what it is. Connection will be an SD connection. So that's a Stream Deck connection from Barreda. And then we'll call this the initial payload. And that is a type initial payload. This is going to inherit from inherit plugin base. And that takes the connection, connection. And that's not how you spell inherit. Connection and initial payload. That's not how. Yeah, there we go. Cool. Done. I'm just going to maybe copy across this. Save settings. I can actually make that like a utility. Couldn't I? Maybe I'll come back later and make that a utility. Because there's like a couple of things that are going to be consistent across them. Maybe we'll end up with like some sort of a base type that we're inheriting from, but one thing at a time. We'll do let mutable settings is going to use a match on initial in payload dot settings with PS when is null PS or PS. So like PS is just the local assignment inside of the match statement for this thing. I could still be doing like initial payload dot settings if I wanted, but by having a local assignment, it just makes it a little bit easier. Few less characters to type out. Okay, so I'm just going to basically use the same thing that we had there. Let default settings equals toggle channel settings dot create default settings, and then we'll save settings. Yeah. Oh, yep. So we're going to save settings of the default settings, default settings, and then we'll pipe. So this is, so save settings is going to return me, if we just scroll across, we'll see that's returning system.threading.tasks.task. So this is returning, like it's an asynchronous operation, but I can't be async with inside of a constructor. So we're just going to run it synchronously, async dot, and also we have to cast it from a C# C# async to an F# async. So we can do that await task, and then we'll do async dot run synchronously. I could do dot wait on it, but I prefer to use the pipeline operator like this. And then that will return default settings. There we go. And then otherwise, if we do have that, we will just do, what was it? Yep, PS, because this is a JSON object, and do to object of the toggle channel settings. And if we haven't matched anything, then we're just going to return the default settings stuff. Okay, and then let's just grab the stock implementation of the rest of the things. Like that, save. Oh, I didn't. There we go. Is that too indented still? We'll do it to there. There we go. Awesome. So that should be our plugin created. And if we're going to come over here, we'll go to manifest.json and let's create a new action. And we'll call this, we'll just use icon is going to be, I don't know what that means. We'll come back to it. Name is select toggle channel. Toggle channel, yeah. And then it will have, states, which is going to have, so these are the, like if you're doing like a multi-action button, I guess it would be that you could use. So we're just going to use that. Like this is just, it's going to have a single one way. That's what it's defaulting things to. And I guess images / icon is probably just a default icon. Oh no, images. Oh no, it's icon.png. It's that. That's how it got that icon. Awesome. So I could probably go out and find icons later on. Focus on the code and not on, you know, making things look pretty. Support in multi-actions. Oh, yes, we will use that. I'm just going to grab the rest of the things while we're at it. So that's in the wrong spot. That'll go here. Supporting multi-actions, true. Tooltip. This will be toggle the state of a channel within restream. Now we need to then grab our plugin action ID that we defined in our F# code and put that as our UUID. And then let's create ourselves a property inspector. Create a new file and we'll call this toggle channel state pi.html. And then it can just use the same code here, but we'll use the name of toggle channel state pi. And we'll create a new file of JS. Oh, I need to add those to the F# build output. Where is that? Here we go. So F# is like it needs to be very explicit about what is it? Alt Shift down. There we go. F# is very explicit about whether or not something is going to appear in the build output. So you need to make sure it's in the fsproj file. Unlike C#, where it's just going to scan for every like .cs file and include those in the output, we've got to be explicit. So I have to include all the fs files. Same with if we want additional files included in the compiled output. So when we do a publish, we want the property inspectors there. So that's why I need to do toggle channel state and need to put that explicitly in the fsproj. Now, yes, I do appreciate that there is probably, this might feel a little bit frustrating if you've come from a C# background. You're like, and no, Netrad, you can't actually use a wildcard in the fsproj file to detect files because file order in F# projects matters. What I mean by that is if we come to the Ionide plugin here on the side, let me just zoom up the sidebar here. You'll see that I have toggle channel state, then then plugin action, and then program.fs. Now, these files are explicitly ordered. I can move them up and down. And when you change the order, what it does is it changes when things are discovered by the compiler. So the C# compiler, I don't think anyone I know from the compiler team is on the stream today. But the way the C# compiler works is it basically does a parse over all of your CS files, loads them in, builds out your syntax tree, and then does the compilation using that. So it's able to find types that maybe you've used before before they've been necessarily included, because it just kind of does like an alphabetical file scan. I think in F#, it's the opposite. You can't use a type that hasn't already been added to the compiler. So it only does like a single pass over the compilation instead of multiple passes over the files. So if I was to try and wildcard in all the files, it wouldn't actually find them in the order that I expect them to be. Now it might sound very annoying, but it actually becomes really nice to work with because it's clear when things are dependent on other things within inside of your code base, because you can't have used them until they're actually in your code base. Like let's say that I wanted to use the settings file inside the settings type that's defined in plugin action.fs. Well, I currently can't use that in toggle channel state because it's not included in the in the AST until it's parsed toggle channel state. So it would attempt to find a type that doesn't exist, and in turn it would fall over and you would end up with an error. Like I said, it might seem weird when you first come to it, but it makes things so much easier and so much easier to understand where things are dependent on each other. Yeah, so that's basically it. So file name, no, this will be channel name. And then placeholder will be, let's just put a placeholder of Twitch, but that's not going to be quite right. So let's just doing like an explicit save settings. I don't need to do that, I don't think. I don't think I need to do that. We'll find out. We'll find out if I need to do an explicit save settings call. Oh, no, hang on a sec. Let's have a look at this. Oh, no, so this one was doing an on input, so I was doing an explicit save settings there. So maybe that's what I want. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to turn this into a drop-down list, but I got to work out how I'm going to get the values here for the drop-down list. Yeah. But let's just see if this actually works. Okay, .NET fake run build.fs, and then target is going to be default. Let's just try and compile. I always forget how to use fake. It is dash target. Okay. We'll just do default. Oh, And that's hiding behind my little overlay there. That's cool. It's slowly appearing. Well, good start. Things compile. It's what we want, yeah. Compilation is a good starting place. So I have actually, like I showed before, I've created a build.fs. So I've created install Stream Deck plugin. So let's run this target. Okay, so what it's going to do, so this is going to do like compilation and stuff like that. And then it will attempt to uninstall the Stream Deck plugin that I've got there. So basically just terminates a bunch of processes and deletes it from disk, and then it will install it. And we'll see what happens. Like, let's just go like whole hog and just try to make it work first up. And if it doesn't work first up, then we'll come back and read the errors. Okay, there we go. So, well, here we go. So this is the install process. It's like, yep, do I want to install that plugin? Yes, I do. So we know it's, I can tell it's installed because the existing icon has started up again and it works. And oh yeah, look at that. We have toggle channel. We pop that there and it is using the wrong property inspector. Because I didn't change the property inspector. Okay. Let's restart. Let's reinstall the plugin. Okay, so it's locked. So to do this, I just have to quit Stream Deck from, I have to quit Stream Deck myself and we'll run that. But that's not a bad start. Like, it actually worked almost like first time. Like, it actually, like, the action appeared. That's one of the things that I needed to do today was make an action appear. Yes. Okay, so it's compiling. Now, I think the reason that it's locking the files is that when it runs the install on the plugin, I said this step here is kind of like it's executing a file, but it doesn't drop that file handler. So like I could try and kill the thing. Oh yes, the property inspector works. Yeah. And let's go into our plugin log. Oops, let's just have a look at this one. What's word wrap? It's Alt Z. Whoa, no, that's GeForce Game Bar experience. I do not need that running. Let's just go toggle. Now, if I hit the button on my Stream Deck, yes, I didn't change the message from the other one, but it is actually outputting, which means that it's wired up. I should have put a message in there when we set the settings. I should have got it to do something there, but I don't have it doing anything. But let's go test. Oh, ooh, that's not right. Notice how like I'm doing stuff here and it's not doing anything in logs, but like as I do a key press, like it's writing it, but then it must be resetting it. So the way that I've got, let's have a look at this one here. ID input string. I think that's what they had here. Input string. On input, save settings. I don't think any of the classes will make any. No, the classes won't do anything because it's just classes. So it's obviously being hyper aggressive when it tries to save. Actually, let's try the other one because it is also hyper aggressive when it. So I've got something wrong in the way that it's attempting to save. And this is where we're going to have to refer back to our like a C# implementation. You have to, let's find one that already works. Open up Barrader's stuff, because this has got a sample on it. I wonder if there's a, yeah, I'm gonna have to work out, I have to work out how to do some debugging. Oh, do I actually have debugging stuff enabled? No, I don't think I've got anything enabled for debugging yet. Come back to that. Okay, so let's just have a look at this sample plugin that he's got here. Okay, so this has a input string, yeah. Now is that just a reset counter, which I'm not doing anything. Yeah, here's one I've prepared earlier. And by me, I mean someone else. Okay. So I don't think it's going to be the constructor that's running multiple times. I think it's this. Like, that's my assumption. That, yeah, like when you key press onto that, like, yeah, the settings is null, or there isn't any settings. Otherwise, wait, no, I think that I actually want this to be, no, I think I want it to not do that there. I think I want to get rid of that line, and instead of doing save settings there, I think we just want to do initial payload settings to object toggle channel state settings. We'll get rid of default settings. So I think we actually want to do it that way, because just looking at this if statement, I basically implemented 3 conditions instead of a 2 that this is here. So this is basically saying if it's null or there weren't any settings on it, then so it's basically JSON object, an empty JSON object, then we're going to use the default settings. Otherwise, deserialize whatever we've got. Now, I don't know a scenario where you would end up with, like you would have ended up in that third branch of the match block, but it's better if we maybe do it that way. And then, yeah, this receive settings. Like he's not actually awaiting on any of that stuff. Like, I wonder if that's just because it's kind of like Slack implementation, or let's have a look. Plugin base. Let's have a look. Where does this get called? Receive settings. Like what causes receive settings to be triggered? Is that it? Instances is, yeah, a collection of plugin receive. I think it's maybe because, no, that's an async. So you could do like receive settings could be an async operation. Instances is, wait, where's this? How come it's not like finding its own types? Because I'm not actually in the solution file properly, that's why. Now let's see if that works. There we go. Okay. Okay, so we come down to, what was it? Instances. Yeah, so like this is with inside of an async function. So there's no but it's an async void function. Ugh. Ouch. Those are dangerous. But again, it's because this is on a Stream Deck connection, which it comes from the Stream Deck C# client, which is a third-party library there. So that event, because it's just a standard event handler, doesn't. Standard event handlers aren't async. Yeah, there's some ugliness there. That's okay. On did receive settings. You can. Well, Ben, yeah, like it's okay, but the problem is that if the async operation falls over, like it's really difficult to catch the exception and like be able to do tracing back through it, because it's fairly much a fire and forget sort of thing. Like it's not actually, because you're not waiting for a result to come back. It's fire and forget very much. So yeah, you've got to be really careful doing async voids. But yeah, it's on events. It's kind of somewhere you sort of have to do it. Like there's not a whole lot of option. Yeah, that's all right. Let's put some debugging in place. Do I have? Let's see. Do I have a .vs code file? I do. I have a launch. Oh no, I don't want launch. I want. No, do want launch. So what I want to do is I want to be able to attach to a running process. Yes. We'll attach to a running process, and we're going to attach to, there is my Stream Deck process. Oh, no, I need to recompile because I've just done a bunch of changes. Disconnect. Let's quit Stream Deck just so it doesn't. Turn 1, and then we'll reinstall our plugin. All right, I'm also going to just open up one of our Raiders things here. Let's have a bit of a dig around in it as well. Because what I don't know yet is, how do I display a list of something in the body inspector? So with Spotify, let's just wait till this pops up, and I'll show you how the Spotify one works. Yeah, let's install that. Awesome. Let's go to his Spotify one, and we can do. But if we chuck playlist start, cool. It's detected my Spotify connection is there. Okay, what device do I want to play on? So this is doing something with the Spotify API. I'm sure of it, because yeah, like here is a list of all the different playlists that I've got starred. So I can do like songs from in The Simpsons, and I can start that. Yeah. Let's get rid of that. So I want to work out, like, how does that happen? Actually, no. One thing at a time. Let's get the debugger working. Let's attach to this one here, and then we are going to put a breakpoint on that. Okay, so it has received settings. Okay, let's have a look at, so settings being our local one, it doesn't have a channel set. Yep. And then we've received this JSON thing, yep. And if we then step over, I wonder if it's because we're not actually updating that settings object. Where is Mobius? Here. And then we want to come back into plugin action. So when it receives settings, it goes tools, auto populate settings. So this method is not working. What's it doing? This is inside of, yeah. So match properties with JSON property. Oh, it's mutating that existing thing. So it's going to find all the properties of the type that have a JSON property attribute and then build up a dictionary. And then if it's not null, it will then go through all. Why doesn't it just use a JSON deserialize and then assign the value? Maybe you only get a partial update. I'll have a look in a minute. See if we do a partial. We only receive a partial update. But yeah, okay. So I know why it's failing is because we're not actually we're not updating our local object. Like this function doesn't update because it doesn't like it. It's incapable of doing it for some reason. Let's check a breakpoint on this side as well. And then if I do A on there, so what have we received for plugin settings now? Actually, let's come into our debug console. And that might actually be behind. Let's go from the settings, debug console. Can I change the font size on that? I can. Let's put that up as well so that this is readable on stream. We're going to clear out what's in there. We're going to do settings dot, oh no, payload dot settings. Yeah, dot to string. It's just a, yeah, it's a full object. So I don't understand why that reflection is being used. Now I have to ask Barrader on why we're doing that. Because ultimately, I don't think it's a good idea. So let's, instead of doing, what's it like? Why does it return a number? Total populated. Inherit, iterates through the J object, find the first one, and then sets it to the value. And then the number of properties updated. I wonder why that's useful. Right now, it's not useful. Settings, and that will be payload dot settings dot to object. What is this? This is toggle channel state settings. Done. Now, F#, because everything is immutable by default, we only have an equals operator. We don't like that, and that's not an assignment operator. That's an equality operator. Oh, sorry, it's an assignment operator and an equality operator, but it's an immutable assignment. So if you need to mutate the value, you need to use this backwards arrow. So less than and hyphen. So we do a backwards arrow because then it's also really explicit in your code. You're like, I'm forcing the result on the right-hand side into the object on the left-hand side. Again, like that's one of the things I like about F# is that intent can be fairly clear. So there's no accidental usage of like assignment, like doing assignment instead of equality that you can get out of like JavaScript and stuff like that. Assignment is only ever done once because things are immutable. If you want to do future assignments, the thing has to be mutable and you have to be use a different operator to assign. Yeah, so we can do that. So that does that. Then we're going to update the settings, and then if we come into our terminal, and we will again quit Stream Deck. I should maybe make a clear attempt to do that. Oh, yeah, sorry, Ben. Yes, I did make, so the settings variable up here is let mutable. So you explicitly define this variable as mutable, whereas save settings up top is a function, but it's let bound, so it's immutable. So just while the compilation is happening, actually, let's bring up the f that f oh, stop changing my focus point. F sharp inter. How do I get to the interactive? I don't remember how to bring up the F sharp interactive easily. Maybe it's up here. Where is it? Maybe I don't have that plugin installed. Interactive. No, I don't have the F sharp interactive installed. That's annoying. Just come to F sharp. Yeah, I thought it was there. Ironhide? No. I thought this gives me... Maybe that doesn't give me the interactive. Yeah. Oh, do I actually have link? I don't have linkpad installed on this machine. It's fine. I just use the interactive up here. Here is the F sharp interactive. And let's just see if I can do font size, font. See if I can change the font size of the F sharp interactive text editor. Sharp interactive. This will be, ooh, not Consolus. Whoa. Cascadia code PL, just the standard. And let's just chuck this to like 26. Okay. So if I was to do like let foo equals a, oops, yeah. Okay, so now I can do like print fn foo is %s a oh, it's outside of the run. Yep. Just restart the interactive. Okay, so if we do let foo equals 1, and then I was trying, and then if I try to do an assignment and we do foo is going to be 2, then if we run this, it's going to give me an error. And if we have a look, the value is not mutable because it's because I didn't define that as a mutable thing. And look, it says consider using the mutable keyword. Let mutable foo equals expression. So let mutable foo equals 1, and we go print fn foo is %d, and then we do foo, and we do foo is now 2, and then we'll copy that line. Foo is 1, foo is 2. So the mutable keyword allows us to change things, and if we didn't use the mutable keyword, will result in a compilation error because you can't change something when it's declared as an immutable variable. Now, did I install the Stream Deck plugin? I can't remember. Let's do it again. Anyway, I did. Okay, cool. that compilation warning is useful for me. Okay, so let's now go. Oh, look at that! And then if we go away, if we come back, it maintains value. Excellent! Yay! We're updating our value. So that's a good start. We are now able to mutate stuff. Sorry, we are now able to save settings. But I want to populate a drop-down list like that Spotify one we had a look at before. So let's have a look at how that could work. This is going to be actually it will be, oh no, it's compiled. Like how do I work out which one? Play playlist. It's going to be that. Let's close that off. Okay, so we have a select list here that is just a list of devices. Okay, so it's going to be probably in Spotify Common. Okay, let's have a look. So playlists. let's have a look for playlists. Not in the plugin log, not in that log, not in that log. Logs, so many log files. I should have done it. Okay, interesting. Remove song from playlist. Yeah, okay, so it might be done in the .NET side of things. So now we're going to be like, it's time to get like properly hacky, and let's do some decompilation of someone else's code. Okay, here is the Spotify, because it's not. This isn't open source, so we're going to be cheeky, and we're going to decompile. This is going to be in playlist action. Yep, that would be it. So let's have a look at what it's doing on startup. Actually, let's have a look at what its settings are. So the settings that it has is token exists, key image, show playlist, devices, playlist. Okay, so this is the thing that I'm most interested in. Let's have a look at how that is set, used by. So when it initializes it to null, okay. Refresh Spotify data. Okay, so cool. So that's just going out and doing an update to Spotify, and that's going to be then updating that field. That's fine. The get is used by load key image. How does it? I wonder if it's just because it's a drop-down list. Like, let's see what are the properties that this has? It has name, URI, images, property name, property name, URI. So if we come back and have a look at here. I reckon that he's doing something with this SD list property text, SD list text property. I wonder if that's inside of this file. Load configuration. Yes, here we go. Interesting. Maybe I should actually check out this GitHub project as well. Okay, so how to use, tutorial, common case. So this is just putting, classes. So I might need to make sure that I have that sort of stuff set up. Drop down list. Yep. File, pick it. Okay. Okay, that's cool. So just when it starts up, we give it. So the settings will contain an array of things, and that's really cool, and that's going to make my life probably a lot easier. Because I was thinking that I would have to basically write that whole mapping code myself, but no, I can just use like this Stream Deck Easy Py or Easy Plugin Inspector. Nifty. Okay, so back here in my code, but actually no. Before we get back there, the playlists was used by no, it was assigned by refresh Spotify data, and then refresh Spotify data is used by a bunch of like just when it starts up playlist. Okay, so he just does it in the constructor. So it constructs itself, and then it goes off, and it will then try and get data from Spotify. Okay, that's cool. That's easy enough to do, at least I think. We can replicate that sort of functionality. What I probably won't do yet, because I haven't quite worked out how to do it, is this whole tokeny sort of stuff. So we're probably going to have a few hacks in here, and I'm going to do the best to not publish like API tokens and stuff like that on stream. But there's a good chance that I will do that accidentally. I'm also going to need the interactive, so I'm going to just punch this open in Visual Studio so I can play around with the interactive at the same time. Okay, let's change this. So this, instead of, is going to need to be a, so we'll add these classes. Yep. So a select, not an input, and then slash select classes are going to be this set of classes. It's not to these SD value field, and then we're going to still use it on input. ID is channel. That will then do that. Okay, so it'll be name, and then that will be ID, and then what's it going to populate when? Yeah, let's just put that playlist start back in. Give it a moment to validate that. So that's obvious. There's obviously like a backend field. Yeah. What field are you going to install, like save the selected item into? That makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to need to not have playlist. So this will actually be called channels, and then we'll have selected, selected channel. We use selected channel, and then we're going to come back into here. We are going to create we'll create a record type. So type internal, actually no, we are going to use an existing type. This will be initialized to an array, but we need to tell it like it's like what is it an array of? And we'll do that by going channel array. Now it's going to be like, what? I don't understand what you mean by that. So we need to open aaronpower.restream.io, which is then going to give me channel. Yes. But that's not where we assign it. Is it? Unexpected that on member declaration. I think maybe it is channel array like that. No. That's because that's a list. This actually be a. Yeah, we'll turn that into an array. Okay. And that will be called channels. That will be channels. And then we're going to need a. Let's just have a look. Is that inside of where is the settings? That's not what I wanted. Modify playlist, action base. No, here we are. Settings playlist selected. That is just a string. So that'll just be like the ID. So we'll call this JSON property. Property the name of channel selected channel, and this will be a member val. So, and the reason I don't have to declare these as mutable is because they're members with gets and sets, so that makes them implicitly mutable by the type that's generated. Selected channel equals empty string with a get and a set. Now, I would prefer not to use a string like this. I would prefer to use an option type, but I'm not quite sure how the serialization deserialization is going to handle an option type in F#, getting exposed out to the JavaScript side of things. So we'll come back to that in the future and maybe play around with it a bit more. Okay, so that's going to set up that. Excellent. So channels is going to be like that. Done. Okay, and now when we are setting up our code base, or sorry, setting up, like running our constructor, we are going to need to get ourselves the information from Restream. So that will happen here with inside of, oh yeah. So in F# classes, you don't define a constructor. A constructor is just the stuff after the declaration of the type that exists. So I'm going to close off this stuff to the side so we've got a bit more screen real estate. So this is executing inside of the constructor. Technically, this is executing inside of the constructor. These are both going to become private fields. And if I wanted to just run like some arbitrary code, like say go out and do an API call, I can do that in the constructor as well with a do block. So this could be like, so here I could do like print fn hello world. So that's something that I could execute with inside of the constructor. And then I could, like, if I want to do multiple things, I just do it. I do a do block over multiple lines, and then just says like compile this. Actually, let's not that one. Let's come to the terminal and we'll just do fake default. I'll just kind of show you what the compiled output of this is looking like. Oh yeah, sorry, it's not going to like that because Stream Deck is still running. Okay, so let's just get the compiled output. Which will be inside of this net5. Yeah. Reveal in Explorer. There it is. Okay, so let's come into here and then pop this to the side, collapse. Which is my file? Where is it? Yeah, we'll use that one. Drop that here. So if we come right down to total channel, here we go. So here is, here's our compiler. So here's our compiled C# type. Or yeah, the compiled to IL converted back to C#. So this is what it looks like. You can see that we're doing things like we're creating connection as a local variable. It's doing just some unpacking of the things so we can do our pattern matching and whatnot. You see that pattern match because it only has 2 branches is converted into an if statement. I could make it an if statement instead in F#. It's the pattern matching because that was how I originally wrote it. And then here's the stuff that it's doing inside of there. And here are our printf statements at the bottom. Because they're just like, it's just arbitrary code that's being executed with inside of the constructor. So that's what we get as a compiled output. And because most people that are on the stream are probably more familiar with C# than they are with F#. That's what you get at the end of the day. It's kind of how it looks in C#. And yeah, if we scroll down, so here's our 2 properties that get created. It turns out that I thought they were turned into privates, but no, they're turned into internals. And yeah, settings. Here's the settings, and it's just a members with it's standard get and set sort of stuff with our static member on it and stuff and whatnot. Yeah. Okay. So we need to go out to the Restream API. Yeah, I need to do a few things like make sure that you've got your access token and stuff like that. But just for the sake of brevity at the moment, I'm going to hack this a little bit and we're going to add a new file. We'll call this app settings.json. No, I'm going to be like super dodgy. I'm just going to create a add file above, and we'll call this hacks.fs. And I will delete this file before I commit at some point today. Hacks. We're going to do module hacks. And we'll do let restream token equals string. Then I will populate that. I will hide my screen and I'm going to go populate that shortly so that we can do things. Anyway, what I am going to need to, let's also set this module to, let's go auto open. Oh, so in F#, a module is basically a static class. Again, well, let's compile this to show you what it looks like. But yeah, a module is essentially a static class that gets generated. That'll be done in a moment, and we will be able to. Is there a reload? I don't think I can. We just have to remove and re-add. Where do we go? There's the spy. Recent files. Boom. Here we go. Not quite. Where is that file? There it is. Okay. So it's a namespaceless static class. Because I don't put it into a namespace, when you define a module, it doesn't have a namespace. You don't need to use namespaces in F#. Yes, NetShroud, you did come back to find that we're already like we're like an hour and a half into doing this, and we're already starting to put hacks around the place. But yeah, so when you create a module in F#, it won't end up in a namespace unless you explicitly add a namespace to it. And that will generate, that will be compiled down to the equivalent of a static class at an IL level. And then all the things you define inside of that are then made as static members of that static class. So yeah, like I said, just a useful little tip if you're like starting to play with some of that stuff. But that'll give us our restream, our access token, because what I'm going to need to be able to do is API. So this is the restream API. And then we're going to need to get channels. And you're like, what does get channels do? Well, the get channels is going to need a token. So we'll do restream token, and we'll pipe that through channels. And then this is going to, we're going to go let channels will equal this. And then that will also pipe through to async dot await task, and then async dot run synchronously. And then once we've got that back, we can go settings dot channels, update that with the channels. And that is, sorry, hang on a sec. Channels is an async API response. That's cool. Needs to be a channel array. What's this? Channels dot. So it has stuff off it, doesn't it? It's not like I wrote this API or anything. Let's go. I can't even remember what I'm returning from my types. Let's come. Where is it? Let's go types. Types.fs. I don't remember what it looks like. Right. So it could return an API response is it's either success or fail. That's right, because the API request might fail. So I probably want to handle that. We're going to do match. Instead of calling that channels, we're going to call that response. So we're going to match the response with an success response, and that will give me the channels. And then if that's received, we can then do settings dot channels, which will then be assigned channels. channels. Yeah. Okay, but it's a sequence, so I need to come up here and change that. Instead of an array, that will be a seek, and then that is going to be, oh, which one's seek? Is it squiggles? What's the shorthand notation for a sequence in F#? F# seek. Or can I just not make an empty seek? Or do I need to do seek.empty? Yeah, that's it. Where's my code? Here it is. Seek. Okay, fine. We'll do seek.empty. There we go. It's an empty sequence. Oh, cool. We've got a lovely little spam bot here. Where's my mod actions gone? Here we go. Let's just go block. Ta-da! Then, nope. And yeah, there we go. Timeout, ban. There we go. Ta-da! Report. And then we'll report them as spam. Ta-da! Mod actions. Let's get that tracking. Okay. So as I was saying, so we use a seek in F#. So a seek is a form of a collection which is immutable. So you can't add items to a sequence. You always create new sequences from a sequence that has new items added to it. So that's it's a very like F# idiomatic way of doing that sort of stuff. So if we had a success response, then we're going to do that. If we had a what do I call it? Failure. Is it a failure? We'll just do nothing. Was it failure or was it error? No, it's error. Error. Actually, what we'll do is we'll do logger dot instance dot log message log tracing level. That's it. Error. Failed to get channel list. And then can I pass in, and then we'll do, actually, we'll print fn, no, sprintf %s, and then we'll do error. Let's grab what that error is, and we'll do error message. There we go. So, and then I can get rid of the unit. Ta-da! Okay. So now how are we going to get this restream token? So for that, we're going to need to use the Restream Developer Center. So restream. Wait, whoa, do it up here. Here we go. So the way that we do it is that we have this authorization flow. It's an OAuth code-based authorization flow. So we got to prompt the user to grant access. That will give us back a token pair. We then give that token pair to Restream. It will issue us with an actual token that we can use, so on and so forth. So let's first off, we'll come into creating an application, the developer portal, manage applications, and I have already set one up. So like here's one that I've created earlier, Stream Deck plugin. So we're going to need this client ID and client secret, because what I will have to do is log in. Now, to make this a little bit easier, I'm going to start a new terminal, and we're going to rename terminal, and we'll call this login callback. So I've created a little web app that will do the login callback flow for us. So that is in login callback. Oh no, stop! I'm not in ZSH. There we go. And we'll just do .NET run on this. So what port are we running on now? We are running here. Advanced. Accept. Cool. So that's going to just kind of return me back here, but I need to update. I know that should be fine. Done. Excellent. And we are going to use the F# interactive. Okay. F# interactive. Control F. I need to remember that. Let's collapse those down. And we are going to add control. I think it's control enter. No. Alt enter. No. Ah, there we go. Unexpected. Yeah, namespace. There we go. Alt enter. Oh, no, that's right. I was playing around with this before and it's a little tedious. Hash NuGet newtonsoft.json. No, is that how? F#. I can't remember how to use the F# interactive. Or do we do it properly? Take a vote. Should we do it properly, or shall I try and hack things like together using the F# interactive to? Because I've got to kind of generate a token at some point. No, we're gonna work out how to do this on the interactive again. F# interactive NuGet. So we can referencing packages. Hash R NuGet. That's what I want to do. So we'll put that in. So that'll add. Well, that'll add that one. Okay, and I'm also going to need to hash R NuGet F#.data. Okay, so that should load F#.data as well. Yep. Okay, and then we're going to try and run that. Okay, there we go. So now we've added all of those types to the interactive. We'll come over to the API. Restream API here, and then, I also need to add that one. So hash R NuGet task builder.fs. So task builder is it's a NuGet package for F# that makes it easier to work with the C# task API. So you can basically convert, because C# and F# use different async APIs under the hood. The interop is a little bit tedious, so sometimes I'll just do everything as C# task-based operations, because that, like, a lot of people that will consume would prefer to consume as task rather than async. So that was just all that I had to do there. So it sort of makes it easier to do that conversion. So I can do task instead of async, which is a computation expression that allows me to then do the async operations. Nice and confusing for everyone. Okay, and then let's add all of these methods in. Excellent. Okay, so now I'll be able to generate my token. But what was the auth flow? I need to go to api.restreamio.login response type code client ID, and then we will generate the rest of it. That's right. Here's where I was playing around with it earlier. Okay, so I want to allow access to this, and it should bounce me across to somewhere that is going to error. Fantastic. don't you just love when you get errors and you've got no idea why? Okay, let's just try again. Allow access. Oh, hang on a sec. I just saw an error sort of like flash up briefly. Allowed false. So we have failed to authenticate. Very briefly. We saw a very brief flash of failure to authenticate. And I don't know why. I was having this problem previously when I was doing it. Let's just make sure that the API token and everything is actually, maybe it's because it's GUID generator. Let's just generate a GUID instead of that local testing string on the end, because maybe that was it. Okay, we'll come back here. So state is going to be that. Let's just check that this is where I want to hit. Yes, I think that was why. I'm going to hit to that. Okay, let's clear, allow. Excellent. Okay. So then what? So what'll happen is, like, when this is properly working and stuff, the user will have to go through that flow, and then they'll get this restream token here. You will then need to paste that into a thing that I build, which will take this token, use the client ID and client secret that I've got here to then generate the OAuth token from that. Now, I am just going to actually open Stream Deck again, because I was about to hit a button on my Stream Deck and I can't because it's not running. But I'm going to just hide my screen for a little bit, because I kind of don't need you seeing all the tokens that I've got here. Not that, like, I'm concerned of anyone doing anything particularly malicious, but it's more, there's a thing about, I shouldn't publish API tokens to the whole world. Okay, so just coming in here, we're going to copy. Let client ID is going to be the thing I just copied there. Let the client secret equals that. And then we can go let token equals. So the token is going to be what I get back from the response. Where'd interactive go? There it is. Actually, if we just do this a little. Yeah, here we go. Now you can't see the full client secret. So hopefully, like, fingers crossed, you can't do anything too naughty with my stuff. Now we're going to need to execute this get token method that I've got here. So I can do that from the interactive because I loaded this file into the interactive. So I can do get token, do client ID, client secret. The redirect URI is going to need to be this thing here. Paste. And then token. Actually, let's just, this will be URI and URL redirect and token. Because then what I'm going to do, no, let token, let redirect equals this. And then we'll do get token with client ID, client secret, redirect your, and then token. And double semicolon, which will execute that. Boom. And we got the response, but unfortunately it didn't unpack the response like I had wanted, I don't think. One sec. Nope. Nope, it didn't. We will pass this to async.await task. Now let's just see if I can get this quickly working. No, I want that. And it's going to be piped to async.await task, which is then piped to async.run sync. Unsynchronously, because I can't spell, I'm just going to copy that. There we go. That, and then we'll pipe that to print fn%o, which will just dump that object. And then let's see. Is that working? Come on. Did that work? That didn't work. I don't think it worked. That's somewhat disappointing. Restart. Let's just restart. Do hash r NuGet newtonsoft.json hash r NuGet f sharp data, and then hash r NuGet, and then that will be task builder.fs. Just load, make sure all of those load in correctly. Okay. Okay, so that's all done. So that's all loaded. Let's bring in our types. Let's bring in the API. Then we will do let client secret equals off stream. That's not right. Let's grab my client secret again. Oh, that was it. On stream, let client ID equals this. Let redirect URI equals this one. And let token equals this. Nope, there. Nope. Where is it? There. There we go. Nope, that's not it. So many browser tabs open. Okay, done. And then we're going to do get token, which will take client ID, client secret, redirect URI token, pipe to async dot await task, async dot run sync. Run synchronously. Whoa, nope, we don't want builds happening. And lastly, we will pipe to print fn%o to just dump the object. And then let's run and let's see if we get a result. This is where we twiddle our thumbs and go, come on. What's going wrong today, Aaron? Start debugging. Yes. Yeah. I might just put this like fully in the hacks file. Whoa. I haven't tried debugging the F# interactive before, so let's see what happens. Not a lot. Where did the interactive go? Here we are. No. Oh, there's the client secret. Now that's on stream. Whoops. I'll use this client secret for the rest of the day, and then I'll reset it afterwards. So, like, if you want to use it, you've got a short period of time. Let client token client E is going to be that. Let client secret is that. Let redirect URI is that. And then we'll just grab all of these there. The token, client ID. Which one was the client ID? That one, and then we'll grab that one. So client secret is that, and client ID is that. There we go. Okay, there's all of our beautiful hacks in place. So it will be get token, client ID, client secret, redirect URI, and restream token. Yep. Let token response equals that, which will then need to pipe to async.await task and await task and async run sync. And then is that giving me an API response? It does. Match token response with success. Token going to be boom, which will then do this. And that will be token dot access token, which will go into there. This needs to indent as well. And then if it was an error, we will just do that. Error. Failed to get token. Okay, done. Yeah. That's all kind of, yeah, and I don't need to do API there because get channel is a top level member. Okay, so there's our hack in place. And now what should happen is it should compile. Let's go back to terminal 1. Let's reinstall the plugin and see what's going to happen. Okay. Yeah, something got that wanted to delete, but it couldn't delete. Hopefully that's not going to be a problem. Could not copy net core app. Oh, that's painful. Something's running somewhere. Ah, wait, no. It's because I've got this open, I think. Yep. DNSpy, I think, had the file locks. Nope. Unable to delete the file netcore app 3.1. I wonder why that is. Must be Visual Studio. Bye, Visual Studio. Last attempt at compilation? Nope. Oh, what's locking my files? Because it's used by another process. Proc Explorer. So if you want to find out what's using something, Proc Explorer is your friend. When it starts. Come on, Proc Explorer. Like, it'll be ironic if I need to use Task Manager to kill Process Explorer because Process Explorer is not starting. Whoa. There it is. Okay. Now I've probably got two versions of that trying to launch. Okay, here's Proc Explorer. Let's go find Restream IO. Yeah, I thought I'd accidentally launch two versions of you. Explorer has it running. Yeah, here it is. This process. Which process is that? The process was coming from within inside VS Code. Huh. No, oh, sorry, that's login callback. Oh, yeah, of course. It's trying to compile the login callback. If I'd actually read my error message properly, I would have realized what it was. Yeah, good job, Aaron. You cannot use the... Yes, yes. It's been a while since I've been doing this. Oh, the app picker that I was just using. This is Power Toys. I've got Power Toys running on my machine. That's what I use for that. I use it for like fancy zones and a couple other things. Yeah. I still am very much in the habit of hitting run and typing to run things, but I'm trying to get better at this is Alt Space. I don't like that it actually overtakes the default operation in Windows of Alt Space, so I can't get to... You can't use keyboard navigation with inside of an app quite as easily, but it's survivable. Term PowerShell. Here we go. Yeah, now that I've seen what the error message is and I'm actually doing things properly, let's compile and kick on. There we go. Ta-da! Stream Deck is going to be killed in a second. Here we go. Yep. So it will attempt to run like console application. It will attempt to run like kill it as well. If I've got the plugin currently running, it'll attempt to do that. But because it's not running, here we go. Oh, you know what? I'm probably going to need to jump into the logs and see what's happening there. So the log file is going to be recent files. There it is. Boom, look at that. Invalid authorization code. Yay! It failed to get my access token. It's probably timed out that access token. Because I think they're only valid, like, that thing initially was only valid for like 1 minute. That's going to be a nuisance. That's why I was trying to do it that way. It's all coming back to me now. I remember why the code was written the way that it was written. There was logic to it. And there was like, when I was playing around, I was using the F# Interactive like a couple of days ago when I was first running this. And now I remember why I was using the F# Interactive. You know what? We're going to install LinkPad. Because I don't have time to work out how to use the F# Interactive. Where do we go? Did that? There it is. Open file. Yep, let's install. We don't want a desktop shortcut. Don't need command line stuff. Yep. I'm going to need to start my login callback. Yeah, we're using .NET 5. Term callback. I need to run that again. So let's do this as a C# program. Oh wow. Edit, preferences, theme. How do I change show line numbers? No, I want custom font. Everything's got to be Cascadia code Powerline. Let's pump the font up there. Hash region. No, we're doing it as F#. F# program. We're going to need to add a reference to this code base. So it's going to be here, bin, debug, net 5, that. Okay. Doing stuff. There we go. Cool. Like I said, already put the access tokens on stream, so may as well keep these 3 up. Because yeah, you've all got them already. And we're going to need to open Aaron Pal Restream IO, get token. I don't get IntelliSense because I haven't activated the premium features, and it's a future problem. So what are we going to do? We're going to, well, first off, we are going to re-log in. And that is just painfully annoying. I keep getting this timeout thing, and I don't quite understand why it's happening. I wonder actually if the reason it timed out was because I'm just signing into Restream on another window. Actually, yeah, let's go back here, and let's just go. Ta-da. No. I don't care that the JWT is expired. Okay, so let's just generate myself a new token here, and then we are going to do let token equals that. So that's the short-lived thing, and then we're going to do get token. Actually, I wonder if I can do top-level async. No, we're just gonna hack it. Get token client ID client secret redirect URI token. I'm going to pipe that out to async dot await task, and then async dot run synchronously. Oh, if you're wondering how I get that list on for paste, Windows V instead of Control V to bring up will bring up the paste history. Best thing ever. Like seriously, if you're not using paste history, go turn it on right now. Sorry, and you're on Windows. %O, we'll pump that out. Done. I'm just going to quickly test to make sure this works, because this is actually going to dump out an OAuth token, and I'd prefer that not going out on stream. Excellent. That has worked. Then I'm going to put this into my hacks file. Okay, done. So I have access token for Restream. That will, we're now going to unwind some of this because we're not going to do there. We get rid of that, we get rid of that. And then this will just be token. This is Restream token. Where is that error? There it is. Restream token. There we go. So that's that's an OAuth token returned. Just get that off screen. Okay. We don't need the login callback. Term 1, and let's reinstall the plugin and see if we still get our errors. Oh. Yeah, I need to get around to doing this this pop-up workflow. So I asked Byrater about it, like how does he do it? And it's entirely done with inside of the property inspector. So it's kind of like just an OAuth workflow that you run with inside of the property inspector. Yeah, we want to install that. And then we want to go to our plugin testing. Click on this. Okay, so we've still got errors. Let's have a look in our logs. No, we haven't. So that, at least in theory, has worked. Ooh. Let's attach the debugger. And that'll be back here. We're going to chuck a breakpoint on that line there. I think if I trash that action and then put it back on, it should hit that breakpoint. It does. Oh, look at this. Let's go to our debugger app. Where's our debug console? And if I was to do channels, it doesn't do anything. Yeah. No, like if I output it here, I reckon display name and ID. No, it should be displaying a list. I wonder if I need to do save settings after I've done that. I reckon so. But look at that. Here we go. I've got back. So this is my Twitch channel. That's where I stream to on Twitch. That's its ID. This is where I'm streaming to on YouTube. Don't need watch or call stack. And there's Learn TV. And there's the LinkedIn one, which I can't activate yet because LinkedIn hasn't given me access. But yay! We're getting back our channel list. I'm excited by that. It just didn't kind of do what I needed it to do yet. So let's do that, and then we're going to go save settings. And then wait, that one is an async, isn't it? Yeah, and that will be async await task and async dot await task and async run sync. Ta-da, okay. Term 1, and let's quit. Let's run it again. See if we can start. Come on. Okay, so here we go. Plugin is about to be installed. Yep. Click on it. No! Thought maybe if I save settings it would do it, but no. Well, that's a nuisance. Okay. So I don't need to put colon there. I think it's already injecting a colon for me. Let's just try removing and re-adding the action. No. Okay. Back to DNSpy. Back to reverse engineering someone else's code. That's the way that we do this. Okay, so we were in the... Okay, so where's the constructor for this type? Okay, so we check that, we refresh the Spotify data. Wait, I wish it didn't. It's not. Need to change the decompilation stuff because it's decompiling a little too. Like it's hiding some stuff that I think I want. Okay. Because when it what it's doing is decompiling this as like into a new method somewhere. That's how the task builder stuff works. Decompile that. No. No, oh no, that's not an async method. Decompile query expressions. Is that one? No, there's one of them that I can change that makes this a lot more readable. Namespaces, all types. Debug symbols. Yeah, okay, we're gonna have to dig, and we're gonna have to dig hard. So this is going into action base here. Okay, so we end up in here. So this is the state machine generated by an async, which is just, it's annoying to try and go through. Okay, so yeah, it is calling save settings. So, okay, let's go back and have a look at this. So, action base, refresh Spotify data. Okay, so that local variable is what it's compiler generated. So it's this struct. Okay, it will set state machine. I really dislike trying to decompose these state machines. So it's here. Those save settings. But theoretically it will have done an assignment. Let's build a... Let's go back to our settings type. Where's our settings type? Our settings, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Plugin settings base, here we go. No. Oh, wait, that's in action base. Sorry, my bad. Okay, so the plugin settings has the playlists property, and let's analyze that one again. So it is set by default setting, and hang on a sec. I'm in the wrong place, I think. Sorry, I was in the wrong state machine. My bad. Not that I think anyone was too focused on the fact that I might have been in the wrong state machine. Okay, so what are we doing here? So we've got a state machine that's getting set up, and then it's going to come in, switch on all these cases, and then it will get the device. Okay, so default is to get devices. And then, so that's the device one, but I'm actually looking for the playlist one. Where does it assign? Here we go. Playlists has come from there. Results, order by playlist action. Oh, that, which is this. Horrible, horrible compiler generated code. No, too far, too far. Okay, let's just, again, have a look at what this is doing. Okay, so we unpack those. We assign the variables, and then yeah. So it is just calling the save settings. Like at the end of the day, it is calling save settings. So what I think I need to check. Hang on. I don't know if I can attach the JavaScript debugger to what's happening in here. If I could, that would be nice, but I don't think I can. Because I'm just wondering if what's being received by this is not correct. That's not where I want it to be. I want it to be in here. So we save settings. So that goes connections, set settings async, which is ultimately what this is doing. Yep. Okay. But it's not doing anything specific to inform the... I was just wondering if it's doing something specific to inform the... inform the plugin that it's happening, but it's not. So let's just breakpoint again and make sure that things are... Well, that's not where I want it to be. Things are all properly set up. Where's that Stream Deck? Put this on. So settings, variables, this settings, it has 4 channels. Yep. And then we're going to go into save settings, which is going to go setting like debug console. Clear console, we'll do jobject.from object settings. newtonsoft.json.link and it's optimized so it doesn't support just-in-time debugging. Of course. Okay, but we can confirm that at the very least, the settings that are getting passed through here do have the channels on them. So like, oh, no, it is coming through. I think this one, it came through. Excellent. Oh, I'm stoked. We're close. Everything is undefined, but I know why everything is undefined. The reason it's all undefined is because I noticed here that the SD list text property name and value property, we have to set those to what it's going to look like in the JavaScript object that's being received. Now, I'm not 100% sure what it looks like because I haven't actually looked at the debug, but my guess is that it's going to be ID with a capital I and display name. So we're going to change this to be display name, and we'll call this ID with a capital I. And now if we kill off the Stream Deck, term 1, and then we're going to build and deploy it again. See you, Ben. Thanks for hanging out. I was only going to do like 2 hours, but well, I'm still here. I'm still having fun. Um, but you can catch what you missed on the replay later, the YouTube. I'll also chuck the code up on GitHub soon enough. Once I remove my access token, because I'm not committing that line of code in there, because you're not getting that. Okay, so we'll install that. Click on one of these. Yes, it is there. We can see it. I should work out. Maybe I need to use a different data structure here because I have two with which are Aaron Powell. Actually, why do I have two? Two which are Aaron Powell. Oh yes, because one is my YouTube and one is going to be the other thing. Yeah. Yeah, so I might need to do a different data model to send through. But actually, let's just have a look. Let's come into Restream. Stream. Yeah, so it's just going to be that, like that name there. And I don't think I've got any way to configure that. Yeah, because that's how you identify that particular channel that you connect to. But that's cool, because I can, yeah, like I said, we'll create just a little record type to do that. And then we can, where did my VS Code go? Here it is. Had it open. And we'll go type, let's, Restream channel. That will be, I'll have display name as a string, and we'll have ID as a string. And then these we can then, I'll leave them as capital. It doesn't really matter. And that, instead of being a sequence of that, we'll do a sequence there. And then that will be success channels after we pipe this through seek.map. Fun channel, and then will be display name equals s print f, then s bracket %s, which will be channel dot display name and channel dot oh man, that's gonna be a problem because I don't have the streaming platform ID. I've only got the streaming platform ID. I'm gonna have to then convert the ID back. Maybe we'll see what the output looks like, and then ID, which will be just the channel.id. Oh, hang on. Streaming platform ID is, yeah, that's gonna be an int. Identifier. What's that? Well, that's what identifier is, and then that is an int. So this needs to be an int instead. Int, oh no, not ID, int, ta-da. We'll restart our stream deck. Okay, come on, compile, restart. But yeah, like it's probably going to be worthwhile. Like I have like a base settings class, which is going to have like it's always going to have the channel list, all the channels that are available. So I can do the mapping from that channel ID. Because I think, yeah, if we look at this, it's probably going to look like, oh, that didn't work. Maybe because it's outdated. Just no, that should have still gone here. There we go. Yeah, so those are obviously not ideal. Like I don't know what those numbers and letters and stuff like that mean. So we're going to need to do something that will map that response across to the actual thing in Stream, in Stream Deck. Sorry, in Restream. So if we have a look at the portal and we go channels, yeah, it'll be like, yeah, like you could use the URL and kind of decode it, but that's not super convenient. I kind of wonder what it's gonna be from, yeah. I wonder what like your custom ones will appear as, like from an identifier, and how you're gonna map that identifier back to, yeah, because I like channel, just give me that, because platforms is where you're gonna go back to, and it'll just be kind of like custom. But is custom what you want? No, you want to know more about the custom one for you. I wonder. Actually, yeah. Let's see if Restream is doing it themselves here. Yeah, I didn't know that if I was on Restream, you actually saw that happening there. That's kind of cool. Let's just reload. Okay, so channels, preview. Good to see that they're using their own API. So this is coming back. Display name. So, yeah, sorry. It says display name is Learn TV. And then you would have an, let's see. What API call was that? API/channels. I don't think it's the same API that I get to use. Yeah, it's different to their published one. It's probably because, yeah, they probably just use their own internal ID, API, which I dislike when people do that. Like, you should have the same API that you're exposing externally as you are using internally. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna have to do something that will look at how we detect custom ones and just like, yeah, display them slightly differently. But that's all good. That's a start. I might wrap it up there. I think that's probably enough for today. I think we made some good progress. We've actually we've got it to the point where we can do the first thing. Actually, no. The thing I want to actually the last thing I want to be able to do is if I select, let's select that. It's cleared it off. That's a potential problem. Okay, let's just chuck on a breakpoint. So that's on this receive settings. And this is where maybe the auto-populate tools sort of thing is better. Oops, that was the wrong process to debug. Debug this one. Now let's, oh yeah, like that's trashed things quite badly. So let's start again. Yep. F5, continue on. Let's go and select here. Okay, so our payload settings. Let's have a look at what that looks like in the debug console. That payload.settings. Yeah, okay. So that's why this auto-populate thing is meant to work, because it's going over. So this receive settings is a partial JSON object, not the full JSON object. So when we do JSON payload.settings.to object, that's going to have wiped out the list of channels, which then in turn, when I do the save settings, is going to trash the set. Okay, that's going to be a problem. I might need to write my own implementation of this auto-populate settings thing that is a bit more intelligent about merging objects. Yeah. I'll have to like I'll have a play around with that off stream, because I'm not sure what's going to be the best way. It's got to be a better way. Like if they were just record types, I know how I could do that easier, but yeah, they're not. So yeah, we'll see. I'll come up with something more ingenious off stream, but it's a good start, I reckon. Apart from the fact that it trashes part of my settings, but yeah, we can get it to display that. I can Cool. All right. Well, we'll call it a day. Sort of wrap things up there. Call it a day, and yeah, I'll post out on Twitter when I'm going to tackle this next time, because yeah, this has been fun. Like building something quite different and exploring this API is interesting. So yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this stuff today. Learn a bit of stuff about F# and things like that, and seeing that it's actually probably not too difficult to create your own plugin for a Stream Deck. I'll share the code when I've had a chance to remove access tokens. I don't want them in Git. Till next time, take care and stay safe.